I asked the easy question. the emotion for you now that it's come a little quicker than you would have thought, but you're into the finals.
Yeah, I suppose it's been a bit of a whirlwind ever since we finished our game against the Doggies on the weekend, and then waking up on Monday morning not really knowing what the week kind of had in store for us. So obviously getting the news late last night that we're playing in a final, girls are pumped, girls are excited. It's what we all play footy for, is to play finals. So yeah, had a really good solid hit out on the track last night. We'll train again tonight and then obviously review Gold Coast and go from there for Saturday.
Did you fear the worst maybe a couple of days ago that you've had such an amazing season, but it might not end up playing, in a final or even a grand final if you were to get there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think every scenario possible has gone through my head, from not playing at all to playing in a grand final to playing GWS. It's, to be honest, every single possible outcome has gone through my head. So I suppose to get the news last night that we were playing finals this weekend was really good, and then to know that obviously 8 teams would be playing in the finals, and then getting our opponent and knowing that we didn't have to travel was obviously a plus as well.
That is a bonus, isn't it, the no travel for you?
Definitely. It's a big, as most of you guys would know on the phones, it's a big trip over to Perth, and it's also a big trip over east for us. So whatever advantage that we can get, obviously finishing top and undefeated, it's nice to have a home final. Obviously knowing that there'll be no supporters down at Fremantle Oval will be a bit weird, but not having to get on a plane is obviously really nice for us.
I'm good, thank you.
Hey, Cara, it's Mitch from the West. Speaking of travel, I think this will be Gold Coast's 4th away trip, essentially, even though they had a home game, but it was in Mackay. Do you think that gives your girls an advantage coming into this weekend?
Oh, well, as we all know, finals are a completely different ball game. That's probably at the front of their mind, that how much they have had to travel, and I think they're in Perth the weekend just gone, taking on West Coast, and obviously have to come back now to play us on Saturday. But we're definitely not underestimating the Gold Coast Suns. They're a young team. They've got absolutely nothing to lose, and we know that they'll bring that on Saturday. So it's obviously, it's going to be at the front of their mind, but no doubt as soon as the balls bounce, it's anyone's game.
You've spoken a lot over the year about the fact that Fremantle Oval, the reason you were so good at it was because of your 22nd player, essentially, that crowd. You feel like you've lost that home ground advantage given that it's going to be a lockout?
Yes and no. It's obviously really nice, number one, first and foremost, to have family and friends there to actually watch you live, I think, and not having that there. Obviously, they miss out a little bit as well because the energy is so electrifying. But look, we had to travel last weekend. There was no crowd in the stands at Whitten Oval. And what we really focused on as a group was trying to generate our own energy in the lead up to the game, knowing what was going on behind the scenes. So it's obviously been spoken about, but we're really focused on, rocking up on Saturday, having a solid week on the track all week and really generating our own energy as a group and hitting the ground running as that first siren goes.
And last night I saw on social media before training, Trent had a chat to you all, and the big advantage he thought was the fact that you went into training knowing you were playing. You didn't know who at the time, but you at least knew who you were playing. Did that give you guys all a big boost heading into training, and did it focus you a little bit more?
I think the advantage, the only advantage of being over here in Perth is that we're 3 hours behind. So I think when the announcement happened, most teams were either halfway through training or had, almost finished training, whereas we hadn't even started yet. So I suppose to have a bit more of an understanding of, number one, that we were playing, and number two, that we thought it would be a 3-week final series. So doing some quick calculations as Coops did, we had a little bit of an understanding of who we may be playing. So look, I think the number one thing for us yesterday when the announcement came out is that we were playing football. I mean, we were obviously in a pretty privileged position, going undefeated and being top of our conference. So I suppose whatever the outcome was, we kind of hoped that we were playing this weekend. So yeah, it didn't change training at all. It more probably gave a bit more energy to the group, knowing that we were actually pulling on the boots and running around this weekend.
Awesome. Thank you, Karen.
That's me. Online.
Hey, Tan.
Hey, so, Cara, are you the best team in the final?
Are we the best team, did you say, in the finals?
You're the best team in the finals going into the series.
I mean, if you look at ladder position and we haven't lost a game, I suppose you could say yes. But I think I looked at all the games on the weekend, and I don't think one club has played the other in any of the final series. So it's bound to be a really exciting final series, and we know as a footy club that final series are completely different to home and away. So I think ladder positions and past games go out the window, and it's anyone's game. It's whoever rocks up on the day, whoever wants it more, and whoever can hit the scoreboard when they get their opportunities.
Do you sort of treat it as a new season starting now?
Yeah, you almost have to be honest. As I said, it doesn't really matter where you finished on the ladder because every final's an elimination. So, I mean, reality is we could be knocked out on the weekend, as could North Melbourne, and we both finished top of our conference. So I think for fans it makes it pretty exciting, and for players it's a do or die game, just like pretty much every other game was throughout the season to secure, a top 1 or 2 spot for finals. So, yeah, it would be interesting. I'm really excited to play this weekend. Obviously, I missed out on our first final last year. So, yeah, I'm pumped and I'm ready to lead the girls out this weekend.
How are you finding it at Coburn? Are you feeling a little bit lonely? Like the guys have left and gone Raptors now, based there. Do you still sort of feel that of their support?
To be honest, we did have a slight crossover when the boys were here, but obviously we all work full time. So by the time that we kind of rock up for training, the boys are done. So there's only the few that you'd kind of run into as you entered the footy club. So it hasn't really changed too much, to be quite honest. There's obviously skeleton staff in at the footy club, and a lot of staff are working from home. But, I mean, we're business as usual with our AFLW program. All our staff are in, and it's kind of business as usual for us. So nothing really has changed too much, to be quite honest.
Thank you. Go well, hey?
Thanks, Tan.
And Ben from ABC, what are your feelings for the other sides who are unable to complete their seasons?
Yeah, I mean, whatever the decision that the AFL was going to make yesterday, it was going to affect, all teams wouldn't be happy. That's just the reality, and I suppose the nature of this ever-changing virus that is changing by the hour. So, look, it's obviously disappointing, and I'm sure every single team would have rathered to play out the season and have their opportunity to make that top, 3 or 4. But that's just the nature of it. If we've only got 3 weeks, and obviously the AFL have come to the understanding and the conclusion that the next 3 weeks have to be finals because we need a premier of this competition, and that's obviously where we start this weekend.
What was the teleconference call like? Were there any players that were unsure about whether or not the season?
Sorry, I kind of missed that. The teleconference?
Yeah, were there any players that were unsure whether the season?
I kind of missed it there. I'm assuming you're probably asking about the teleconference that or the captains maybe had with the PA. So we had a number of conversations as captains and delegates with the PA throughout the week, just to get a better understanding of where the players sat. And I mean, to the PA's credit, obviously they consulted all of us and, made a final decision and recommendation through to the AFL, which is what we've got this weekend. It's the fairest decision that could have been made in the circumstances that, 8 teams now get to play finals. So it's exciting for the comp, and it's exciting for obviously all 8 teams playing this weekend.
And I guess just finally, how destructive has the virus been in general when you're playing?
To be honest, I mean, the football club and the AFL have obviously put really big parameters in place to ensure the health and safety of us as players, and obviously the staff directly linked with our men's and women's programs. And I suppose the hardest thing for our AFLW players across the board and across the industry is we've all got full-time work and things outside of football that we have to be extra careful with in terms of obviously social distancing, and especially obviously an increase in the hygiene with hand sanitizers and things like that. And it's just being aware and conscious of what we're doing when we're not in the four walls of the football club, and we obviously may come into contact with others in the public. So look, I'm really happy with where we're at the football club, with Simon obviously coming out, as all CEOs did last week, and made a pretty big statement on what we're doing to protect the players and the staff moving forward. And as you all know, it's changing by the day and by the hour. So anything's bound to change probably in the next 24 to 48 hours. But currently we feel really safe. We feel really protected here. And again, everything's been put in place so we can hopefully hit the track really well tonight and get the win on the weekend, and then move forward.
Thank you.
No worries. I think that's everyone.
Is everyone happy?
Yeah. Can I just ask one more, if that's okay?
Yep.
Go for it.
So, Clifford at the weekend kicked a couple of goals in place of Roxy. Obviously, some good selection dilemmas to have. Do you see some broken hearts maybe this weekend, given that you've got a lot of players in good form?
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not Trent Cooper right about now, that's for sure. He has got a really tough decision, and I think I suppose it puts into perspective why we've been so successful, and anyone that comes in and it has earned their spot has played really, really well. So it makes it difficult for anyone to get omitted from the side. But, you know, Roxy's been fantastic. Last week trained, this week has trained, and hopefully we'll get her opportunity to play in her first final. Who goes out, I'm not too sure. I'll leave that up to Coops, but it's a great problem to have at our club, and it's what builds strong cultures. And it showed last night on the track. Everyone was training the house down to prove their point and to try and either keep their spot or push in for selection. So it's a great problem to have.
And my final one for me, you've had a bit of strapping on for most of the year with a few names of the injured players. Does that put everything with coronavirus finals, everything into perspective for you and for what the playing group is playing for? It's not just the 21 on the field.
Oh, definitely. It's you know, like other clubs, I think Melbourne have had 5 ACLs. We've had a couple as well, and obviously with Anne and that horrific incident earlier this year, I mean, should be in our starting side. So it's nice just to remind yourself every now and then when the going gets tough during the game that we've got three players on the sidelines that would give anything to be out there. And it's just a really nice reminder to keep going and keep cracking on. And it's probably, you know, part of the reason why we've been able to bounce back in final quarters and get it run over the top of teams, because there is more to life than footy, and there's more to life than just the 21 that run out on the game. So, yeah, we're doing this not just for the girls that get selected. We're doing this for the entire playing group, the entire club as well. So, yeah, we've got a really important job to do this weekend.